Today we're going to be removing the Judder Spring setup on my 2019 Honda CRF450L. Now the CRF450s employ this Judder Spring to help with clutch action and improve the feel, but it is a weak point on the clutch base, or assembly I should say, in that the innermost friction ring has a tendency to crack. I purchased the parts for this job a while ago, and I just never got around to doing it. So I'm finally going to do it today, and I'll walk you through the job. It's super easy. So in preparation, you really only need this one friction ring. Online, it is recommended while you're doing this, you might as well stiffen up the springs a little bit. The clutch, when you do a power up like I've done on my CRF, slightly stiffer springs do help with slipping, so I'll try that as well. Only 3 springs to start. They are directly off a CRF450R, as is this piece, which is interchangeable. And there's the friction ring that's going to replace the judder. I'm pre-soaking it in oil, obviously, because you want to do that prior to install. And that piece basically replaces the judder spring. Now, I have some miles on my bike. I have about 1,000 miles on it. So just in case, I did purchase one of these steel rings that usually resides against the judder spring's friction plate, just in case it's chewed up. I read online that some folks have seen this being chewed up a little bit. Doesn't hurt anything to replace it. It's cheap, so I went ahead and ordered that as well. There's the part number. There's the part number for the friction ring and the springs. So as you can see, I've gotten the cover off. Conveniently, it's not a gasket underneath to tear or anything like that. It's just a little O-ring rubber. So good on Honda, reusable and easy to take off. And now I'm just undoing the pressure plate screws on the springs. Remember to go in a gradual fashion, undoing them, sort of cross hatching little by little. Doesn't have to be an exact science, but you want to keep it sort of equal. And then remove the pressure plate. So there's the first piece of the judder spring setup. It is a slightly thinner friction disc, and again, this is apparently the failure point on the clutch. It's slightly narrower, and then underneath you'll see on the outside here there's a washer and then the spring underneath that. I'll show you that in a sec, but these are the parts that get replaced with a single friction disc. So we'll go ahead and do that. There we go, the 3 pieces. So remember the skinny friction ring, there's the spring itself, and then there's the washer that goes underneath right up against the clutch basket. So all 3 of those get removed, and we go ahead and we swap in the single friction disc. Okay, there's the clutch basket without the judder spring. I got my nicely soaked friction ring, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that. Oops, sorry, got lackluster production value here, team. We're going to go ahead and we're going to drop that right in there. Boom, just like that. And then we'll reassemble the clutch in the exact same order as before. And I'll talk about the springs in a sec. So interestingly enough, this is the steel plate that's was previously touching a skinnier judder spring. You can see the wear on this thing. There's a small little gouge in there, and it's kind of why I guess folks online suggest to just go ahead and buy a new one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to flip it out for a stock new steel plate. Start fresh. Got a fresh friction plate. Might as well get a fresh steel plate. And then alternating, I'll reinsert the other ones. So, last piece of this common mod is the springs. Now, pink are the stock ones, and then green are the slightly firmer CRF450R springs. So what I'm going to do is go half and half. I'll interchange every second one to green from pink. So our CRF450Rs for the stock CRF450Ls. Just going to firm up the clutch action a little bit. Again, with the extra power, I never felt it slip, but we'll see how it feels. It's so easy to do this afterwards in terms of just pulling this cover and replacing them that I'll try it out. If I don't like it, I'll go back. So who cares? All right, I'm going to put them in. Torque value is 9 foot-pounds on the screws. So I'll go ahead and do that. That's all in your manual, which is very detailed. One last thing. That top friction plate goes in different grooves in the clutch basket. Notice in the video, it's different than the main clutch pack. I was able to ride the bike a couple times after doing this swap. I was not able to tell any increased stiffness at the clutch lever due to those stiffer springs from the R. If anything, the friction zone and clutch is just better feeling, if that's a word. Bigger friction zone. And given the damage or the gouging to that steel plate, definitely worth it.